Welcome everyone to another episode of Konya Mario. We are here to bring you the latest news and discussions in Hello Project. We are on episode 36 this time. Yay! In the studio today, we have, as usual, the Turbos 86 from everywhere.
Yeah.
We have a rare guest appearance by Firin.
Yo.
We have Ouroboros.
From England!
From England. And last but not least, we have Invis.
Aloha.
Aloha. So, as usual, we have quite a long show for you this time. Let's get started right away, so we don't waste more time. Let's start off with some news that we usually bring to you guys at the beginning of the episodes. Announced yesterday at the 123 release event in Tokyo, we found out that Ikubo will be changing her color after the Hawaii tour. Very shocking, yes.
Bye bye, Chocobo.
Yeah, that's no more chocolate ghost eggs. If you guys haven't seen the what's it called? Event, the clip of the event, go to the Morning Musume YouTube channel and go watch their that clip that Shuhei uploaded. It's pretty funny. Just a quick breakdown of it. They played off the event, the announcement, as if it was going to be like a graduation or some sort of, big sad announcement. And I was really impressed by how they pulled out a table and a sign that said,
a sign,
yeah, emergency press conference out of nowhere. That was pretty awesome. So she will be having a Ustream special on July 30th, I believe at 19:30 in the afternoon, to tell us what color she's finally going to be moving on to.
Yay!
Let's hope it's
darker brown.
Darker brown.
Darker brown.
Black.
Black.
She's gonna go UV. Everyone's gonna have to use UV glow sticks.
That's gonna make concerts not fun.
UV glow sticks would be
it'll
great.
give all of those, closet otas a tan at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll also show everyone's dandruff off.
Yeah,
Glow.
that's all the people who don't. I mean, if you stand next to Samurai with UV glow sticks,
You wouldn't see the concept.
it's gonna be like a disco room.
Crazy.
Yeah. Another thing that was revealed from yesterday's 123 event was that Haruka was actually a pretty decent swimmer back when she was in elementary school, and she actually made it to a regional tournament. Since revealing that information, the Otas have stalked down and tracked down exactly which swim club she was part of, and most likely which elementary school she attended. It's in Saitama, so if you feel like checking that out, go ahead. Yeah, I guess easy.
Stockerus Maximus.
Just ask somewhere. I'm sure I can take you for a guided tour around the school.
Yeah. Good times. So with that, let's move on to our main discussions for this episode. The first topic is once again Berryz Koubou related, because they've been kind of a big topic on Nichan and all the Japanese discussion forums as of late. There was a recent thread created earlier this week talking about, shortly after the Mono graduation was announced, talking about whether or not Mono and Berryz are failures of Hello Project. And the thread was asking, what can we do to prevent a second Mono and second Berryz Koubou failure? So I kind of want to open this question up from the start. Is the fan who posted this question right? I mean, are they actually failures? We kind of know what's in Mono's future now, but I mean, is he warranted in making this kind of extreme statement?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, okay, they're not selling huge, fast figures, but they're still selling more than a lot of the other idols out there.
They're selling less than other Hello Project idols, though.
They're selling a lot less than the other Hello Project idols.
But they've been around a long time.
They have. They do have a steady fan base, but that's
like we said last week.
Right. That's about
a
it.
lot of people who will still buy their stuff. I mean, like I said last week, if they don't expand, they're stagnating, and then that's not a good thing.
Right.
Well, that's always going to be the problem, right? They can stay steady, but we're in that economy world where everything has to grow bigger, or they're just going to start doing cuts or something.
Right. So,
Mm.
I mean,
Go.
would you guys necessarily call this a mistake then to have what was invested in Mono and Berryz over the past however many 7, 8 years? Was it all worth it in the end?
Yeah, they got some damn good music out of it. And also, Mano is awesome. It's as cute as anything.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of value in that it happened. It's just that they need to know where to go from here is always the problem.
Hmm.
They've always found good people for the most part. It's just you gotta know how to use them properly, which is something that they need to find for themselves.
Right. Let's hope they can figure that out. So one of the things, though, for Berryz at least, their recent single hasn't been doing too well on the charts. We know that we actually don't know any specific sales numbers because they haven't been in the top 3 for any of the days that they've been out yet. But so far, they don't look like they will be making the top 5 for the weekly at the end of their first week. So one of the discussions have been going on about this latest Chacha Singh single, and they've been saying that so far it's pretty much a big failure. It hasn't been too far off from previous Berryz singles, at least the most recent 2. How does this single rack up in your guys' minds?
You know, I think people are saying this a failure because one, they might be unconsciously comparing it to Mori Musume's 1-2-3's efforts, and which is unfair. And 2, they seem to be doing a bit more than usual in promoting Chacha Singh than, say, the last couple of singles, and the results are still the same. Maybe that's why they're saying it's a failure.
Do you have a 3? Because then you'd be perfectly connecting it to 1-2-3.
3 would be, if you compare it to C-ute's recent single that has done very well.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
good.
but
Very
Berryz
good.
is not really
That's
stacking
done
up.
massively well for Cute as
Right,
well.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
their biggest selling single ever since quite a long time.
Right.
So, I mean, Berryz might have that with the next song. They might have their biggest selling song of all time with the next one. You just have to either make the conscious decision to carry on with the group and hope for that one time, or to put them down.
Well, have Berryz
the
had their
group.
events and things? I mean, are we talking this is the result of all of their publicity and all of the events and things? Because it would make sense for it to not get a lot of attention if they didn't do all of the events, get all of, the usual rigmarole that they get for these things.
Well, to be fair, they've been not. They didn't do a lot of promotion compared to Cute and Mori Musume with their latest singles. So I don't think it's a fair comparison to say that Berryz are selling less with the same kind of effort.
Definitely is not the
Almost
same level.
B-side got more
Sorry, go ahead.
promotion than most other B-sides, though.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's an
Doesn't seem
whole
to
different.
help much.
No, I think people are annoyed by that.
I know.
Why?
I,
It's
Double
awesome.
A, blah blah.
Yes. No, but then it does help that when she's on TV and get all those free promotion time doing all the annoying acts. But those are not purpose-made promotions.
it's
Wait, which things are we talking about?
The stuff that Momo does
Momo
on
on
TV.
TV. I've been reading
okay.
the reactions outside of the Hello Project Okami boards for Nichan, and so a lot of people are saying that they recognize Momo as just purely the result of her exposure on TV, but it's kind of coming off as how Sayu, when she was making her rounds on London Hearts and all the variety shows, that it's not necessarily good publicity.
Right.
They're saying that she's really annoying and she needs to shut up. So, I mean, like, if
points.
you guys were the producer or the manager in the situation, is any publicity good publicity, or would you pull Momo back?
It's upfront. Any publicity is good publicity. The
The
lazy.
difficulty is
That's
I'm
generally
asking-
upfront's viewpoint, unless it's a scandal.
It's good
Right.
for her, but I don't think it helps the group much.
Oh, you
It's,
think she's pushing to
oh.
be a soloist, do you?
I hope not. But good that you mentioned this.
Nice.
A couple of days ago, when Berryz went on one of the morning TV shows, Pong, they had a segment on the show that was called "Let's Get to Know All the Other Members Who Are Not Tsukunama Momoko."
that's a good corner. I'll watch that corner.
That was
Good idea.
yeah, it's a good idea,
And
but
did it
it's
have
also
Momo
points.
butting in all the time?
Yeah,
It's a necessary comment.
She did. Also points out the sad fact that nobody knows who Berryz Koubou is except for Momo.
But that's the same with Mori Musume. No one knows who Momosu is except for Sayu.
Yeah, but then if the well-known members from each group are known by the public for their bad personas, then
Right, that's
how is
also...
that? Yeah, how is that any help?
So, well, here's the interesting thing. I mean, like, what should they do? Because if you look at C-ute and Smilage, who are also both selling more than Berryz, none of their members are known in the public. Maybe Irie because of her dad, but definitely not because she's an idol.
I think Smilage aren't selling much more, are they? Though?
They're selling about maybe 5 to 10k more.
Really?
Yeah.
Done about 26k in their first week.
Yeah, and Bigenki
didn't
was 15k their first week.
Oh, right. I didn't think that it actually did that well, actually, to be honest. There you go.
Well, they had the Chokikai, the Polaroid shot thing, which, to be fair,
That's
against Berryz is not doing nearly as much. So it's not it's not milking the fans to buy as much.
So they don't.
So yeah, exactly. So they don't. They save it for the bus tour, the dinner show,
Shows, yeah.
the concert tour, if they have one. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is one of the things. If they're not doing the photo box sets, that's going to really hit their sales quite severely.
It does. That's kind of the thing that I was really afraid of when Smilage first did it. What was it for Uchocho Never or something way back then?
Yes, it was.
The thing
I
is,
got the Tachigaru one.
oh okay. Well, no,
I think they did it for Shot and Love though before that.
They did, they
yeah.
did.
The thing about that is when you start doing that for one group in an umbrella company, it usually has such good results because everyone. It's so hard to get a group shot or two shot or whatever in Hello Project that it's going to lead to, of course, massive sales, and then that makes everyone else look bad when all of a sudden this group is spiking. So then it's going to be a chain reaction.
So why haven't they done it for...
That's a good
Berryz?
question. But by not doing it, it does make them look really bad.
I was thinking it was probably because there's too many members to fit in one of those tiny little Polaroids, but
Well,
looking at mine,
Smilage.
there were 7 in Smilage
Yeah.
at the time, so that doesn't work.
Who knows? That's a good question. Why are they not doing it?
They're trying to
Well,
be
it-
different.
Different as in bad.
Different as in failure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've always known them to kind of do that kind of, we're using all of these people as kind of tests for the field. I mean, Mano's indie thing, Smilage is indie thing, so, you know, with Mano graduating and Smilage being kind of meh right now, maybe they're like, let's do tests on Berryz.
What are they testing? Like a lacquer promotion or?
Yeah, to see how much, like, that whole, because this is what the flash mob thing,
Uh-huh.
right? So maybe they're trying to see how much just the social media can do by itself, and it's not doing very well.
It would
Right,
be
trying to
pretty
see-
interesting to see how much they would sell with no promotion at all.
All the other groups?
Any group.
Yeah, I would imagine it would go back down to maybe
Just
20.
announcing the singles out, and that's it.
That would
Yeah.
be interesting, but that would almost be like idol suicide in the current industry.
That's pretty much music suicide. I mean,
yeah. You
all
have
over Japan, it's just there are ads for everything pretty
Yeah,
much. So
it's
not seeing
insane.
something like that is just scary.
right. But Invis, you bring up a good point earlier about the whole flash mob thing. It's something I want to bring up to you guys. I think that the past couple of singles they've had for Berryz specifically, their songs have been based on really good concepts that could potentially be catchy and could potentially get a pretty large audience for sales or fans in general, new fans. If you look at their past concepts behind the most recent singles, like if you go back to Heroine, it was kind of the Lady Gaga cover when she was really hot at the time in the Western world. Then you go to Be Genki with the Avengers kind of parody that was also really hyped up at the time. And then you go to this recent song now where they go into the flash mob kind of thing, and which has also kind of been a big hype right now in the Western community. And even though it's kind of died out a bit, the flash mob thing, I think it's just the fact that there's a flash mob everywhere always seems to attract a crowd, at least viewers, if not participants. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, I think that they have a good concept in what they're trying to do to reach larger audiences, but there's something holding them back. Whether it's just execution or the song itself or some kind of promotion, I don't know what it is, but what do you guys think about that thought?
I totally think it's execution. Say for Bigenki, if they have to copy the Avengers, then say the music video
Be more Avengery?
Yeah, not just stand there and sing at the harbor, yeah.
And
It would have been cool to have like a Marvel style comic book PV or something.
CG is cheap.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah, CG and panel effects.
Panel effects.
Yeah, that would have been
Except
cool.
HP CG is very cheap, and I don't mean as in doesn't cost much.
Well, if they took all that effort that they spent on Mono's Genki Mono and put it into Be Genki, I think that would have been awesome.
Alright, yeah.
Well, just get some guy in a red suit to go around.
Yeah, and then just put pow every time someone punches Momo in the face.
Hey, that works.
Well, I mean, we've seen that, like, the max they can do with, like, Chikyu and 123 with the lens flares and all of the weird floating things. They've got enough, like, simple filters that you can make it look like a comic book rather easily. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did a pretty good job with, what was that, the Konomise Toishini?
Yeah,
Kare
exactly.
Toishini. Yeah, so that was decent. Even, and I can't imagine that cost that much. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, exactly. And also this time with Chacha Singh, the whole flash mob idea is fine and all, but the way they did it, they had it so controlled. All the random people dancing were hired, and they did it in the middle of a mall at what looks like off hours or when nobody's around.
Right.
So the whole.
I mean, they totally shut down that mall for that filming.
Yeah. So the whole point of a flash mob was to attract attention, but there's no attention to attract. There's nobody there to look at.
Right.
So if they did it in maybe a more busy part of Tokyo, say Shibuya, Shinjuku.
Crossing.
Yeah. So they suddenly come out in the middle of a traffic. When traffic stops and then suddenly come out and do this, and people would say, "What's going on with this?" And that's the whole point of doing a promotion.
That would be so epic.
Yeah, for a flash mob to work. But this is like, let's go hide in some mall where nobody sees us, and we'll just release it on YouTube. Only the fans know the address to.
Right.
Well, it was a small place. Wasn't one of the flash mobs in Odaiba?
Yeah, there was one in Venus Fort for the commercial.
Both
Venus Fort
there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both Venus Fort. One is just inside, and one was outside.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's some small place that nobody ever goes to.
Well, it's a popular shopping center, but only on the weekends, and I think they did it probably on a weekday, maybe morning when nobody's there.
Yeah,
So
the whole thing is a trick because they control the atmosphere in the mall. Like, it's supposed to reflect the daytime, so when it's night, it's kind of darker in there, and then when it's day, it's got blue skies and whatever faking on the walls and the ceiling.
Yeah.
So you can easily control that and make it look like anything, any time of day that you want.
Well, I do think that most promotional flash mob videos are completely controlled. It's just not so obvious normally.
Well, they are controlled, but
Because how many people are going to know the dance
Yeah.
to a brand new song?
That's well, not controlled like in that sense, but I mean, to attract a live audience, that's not like hired extras.
Yeah, like all
Yeah.
the people watching on the outside should have been regular people, not hired people, meant to look like regular people.
I mean, they totally could have done like an event where they invite the fans to watch from the outer ring of the outside area in Venusport, and have everyone on the upper level where and all the dancers on the bottom floor do the flash mob dance. That would have been pretty.
no
epic.
upfront thingy. They don't want to give people opportunity
Well,
to
yeah.
free stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but
So
I
they're
don't think
hiders.
they would hire that many people either, to be honest.
Yeah, that gets pricey if you want to force that level of control over who's in your music videos.
Yeah,
Well,
it would
which
be
is
much
kind of the
cheaper
entire
just
problem
to
with
let
HP.
the fans know,
Right.
and just hire some
Yeah.
security people to not let them get close enough.
But that's a problem too, because then you have to manage the security and everything,
Well, we've had one listener comment that all the dancers did it for free.
Is there a source for that?
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
our listener will find.
Yeah.
will hear us
But-
asking.
Hey, if that's true, that goes exactly with what Upfront's policy of being cheap.
That's a good policy.
Still feels like
Makes
that they needed to get more actual flash mobbiness to it. I mean, if you did it in Venusport, like close off the bottom floor, and then let the top be a normal mall thing, and then you could just as easily have real people going, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
Like looking down into that center circle, and the center circle is just closed off.
Nobody lingers around in that area, anyways.
They should have done it in front of the Gundam. That would have been awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, hang on.
Oh,
you say
that would've
nobody
been
lingers
great.
about in that area. I've lingered about.
But that
in
area is way too open with the Gundam. Like,
Hmm.
way too many problems. No,
Well, that was when I
HP
just
is very
didn't know where
uptight
it was
with
going.
security.
So
Well,
yeah.
okay,
that's just- yeah.
Yeah, that's just how
Yeah.
it is. For me, when it comes to Berryz things, I think that the music, the songs themselves could be better, I guess, is one thing that
I
I want to
agree.
point out.
Haven't liked the Berry song in a long time.
Yeah, I like the
Sadly.
Berryz personality, their characters are great, but I think I like Magi Bomber. I think that was
That
kind of
was
the last
that
time.
was pretty. That
I'm
also
afraid I've liked all of their songs.
sadly has been.
Although,
over
to
for a
be
while.
honest, if they put their album songs in as singles instead,
Yeah,
like Shy Boy, for instance, from the last album,
their
fantastic
album
song.
songs are always a lot better than the singles.
I think that's
It's
a super
really
problem.
cool song as well. It would have been, I'm sure that would have been a hit.
It's not just Berryz. Other How the Project group has the same problem with album songs being a lot better
Yeah.
than a lot of their singles.
Mano, for instance.
I imagine they put more work, like more time goes into the album songs because they don't have to pump them out right away and make sure that line distribution is all equal or whatever they do with that.
That makes no sense then.
Well, I think the line distribution on album songs is there to balance out the fact that it's not on the singles. The other members who aren't the front people
Yeah.
get to do more lines on the whole.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, but
It's probably
you don't
why
have to
they're
be as
better.
concerned about it too. So.
But I mean, one thing about this song which confuses me is why is it still not on iTunes? It's
right.
been released 5 days ago, 4 or 5. Put my teeth back in, and and for some reason, normally 12 hours after it's released, it's available for the world to buy, and this one isn't. Still,
It's a
Come on, some
conspiracy,
people-
man. Conspiracy.
So, but that's for the international iTunes database, right? Are you able to check the Japanese one?
I can if I change my location. Yes, I'll be able to do that. Give me a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to see if that's up there.
It's just
because,
locally, like.
Yeah, because
region
Chacha Singh,
locks
yeah,
Japan.
Chacha Singh is released on the Japanese usual
It's on that cell phone thing,
digital
right?
distribution
yeah cell phone
venues.
network.
The Rekio or something.
Leco whatever.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
there.
It's there, so it's just
At
not
the
in
top.
English. Maybe they forgot,
So it's region locked.
or simply don't care.
Region lock.
It's so, and ironically though, half their songs, even on the Japanese one, are still written in Romaji.
Well, it's
Because it's cool.
the song written that way when they distribute it.
400 yen for special generation
He's
PV.
not looking at all.
No.
Nope.
The interesting thing that it's not on the international iTunes the catalog, when this song at least seems to me more clearly targeted at a the Thailand fan base rather than the Japanese one. I mean, yes, it's a cover song and it's been translated to Japanese, but I don't think any of the existing Berry fans knew who this guy was before the
No.
song,
Nobody did.
and nor do they care about the song before Berryz did it.
As
Maybe
one
they
of our
filed.
listeners has just said again, it's possible that the Thai agency didn't give permission to distribute internationally. So, just to see this, I'm just
So it
signed
would
into
Be restricted
Thailand
to domestic.
iTunes, and there's no Berryz Koubou at all.
Thailand,
go.
iTunes.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
there's-
people,
So
Maybe
is
just
it?
have
people
to keep
found
our
out
ear
about
to
this.
iTunes and see if it ever shows up. I mean, it could just. Be
Oh, I
like-
do, yeah, because I need a copy of that single. And I don't want to pirate it. I want to buy it.
But you should never pirate things.
Right, we
Exactly.
do not condone
That's what I
pirating.
mean. That's why I don't want to. But this kind of thing
guess-
just causes people to want to.
Well, you just have to. They're just forcing you to buy a physical copy then.
Yeah, I'll just have to spend some money, won't I?
Yeah.
That's what events are
That
for.
sucks.
Yep.
So
Whoa.
any final thoughts about Chacha Singh, the PV, the song, or how they handled this whole single? in
maybe
general?
people found out about this guy, and just like me, thought the original was better. And decided to buy that one instead.
This is anti-promotional.
That's not good.
You're harping the other guy.
Personally, I liked the song. I just haven't had enough chance to listen to it to see whether I actually really like it.
It's catchy, I guess,
Yeah, exactly.
but I mean, if I were a Berryz fan, it's not something I would spend money on purely because I think the song is stupid.
Well, I just covers. We need more
Yeah.
covers. Why?
I don't really like covers in general.
Sometimes covers can be really, really good.
I
guess.
suppose.
Well, I did enjoy
Genghis
Pepper
Khan.
Kapoor, but that was kind of the only time that a cover.
I also thought that song was really stupid. So.
Well, see, I like the original Pepper Kapoor, so maybe that's why that.
Oh, I was
worked
talking
for
about
me.
Genghis Khan. Pepper Kibbu's okay.
Oh, Genghis Khan. Yeah, Genghis Khan.
Well, what do you think Berryz need a serious song again or whatever? Or how many times have they done ballads? Have they done one since?
They tried, it didn't work. It's called
That's what Berry Q is for, you know, because happiness and.
Well, yeah, but that was cute doing doing the
That part
ballad.
was cute. Yeah. I actually think it's the opposite. They need something more punctual. Like
For
their songs
Berryz?
are upbeat. Yeah, Berryz. They have upbeat songs, but there's no. I still feel there's not enough impact in what they do.
I think I get that the songs don't really leave much of an impression, but again, going to like what you guys were saying earlier, their album songs do a lot more for me than their singles do.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're doing that on purpose or what. But
They really shouldn't. That's really a horrible
Yeah.
marketing scheme.
I blame
Maybe somebody's trying to phase them out.
it
Maybe
should
he's got.
it'd be
he's
the
up to the
slowest
market.
phase out ever over the course of several years. That's a good economic plan.
Alright.
Yeah, so on that note, let's move on to our next topic. If you want to continue the discussion of the latest Berryz Koubou single, feel free to make comments on the post for this VOD or on our forum at forum.takamario.net. Our next topic, going to be kind of an interesting one. Mori Saki from Up Up Girls was recently on Our no Housoku, a TV show, and she had a mini special where she went around to interview local idols from all over Japan. And normally this probably wouldn't be much of a discussion, but I actually found that I learned a lot of information from the show that I didn't know about the smaller idol groups in general. The smaller idol groups, mainly because they don't have that national media exposure that kind of the A-level idol groups do, so you don't see them on TV as much unless you live in the area, and you barely ever see them in person because they don't do concerts in like Tokyo, which get nationally broadcasted. So anyways, there was a lot of things that I found about local idols from all over different parts of Japan that would be interesting to see whether or not they could be applied to Hello Project, to any of the groups within Hello Project, and whether or not they would be helpful or not helpful, or even feasible given the differences in size of the idol groups between Hello Project and the small local ones. So I'm gonna kind of go down the list of what I've learned from this show, and then I'll open it to you guys just to kind of grind it out and see whether it works or not. First one, Mori visited Niigata, and she interviewed the idol group called Negiko, which you guys may be familiar with. A couple years ago, they were really famous for being the Green Onion idol group, and that was kind of their thing. One of the things that they do for their fans is during their during their performances, which are done usually in small malls, the song performances are completely interactive with the fans, such that fans are allowed to give them presents, they're allowed to give them high fives, and ask for handshakes during their songs. And the area is small enough where the girls, there are 3 girls, they can just usually run off stage, high five someone, and they go back on stage while singing all at the same time. Okay, so putting your fandom aside, because I think everyone would love to do that, I mean, would that help Hello Project at all in any way? Would that...
No.
It would be hard in a big venue, I think.
Yeah, I don't really see it. I mean, not for like those major concerts that they usually do in the concert halls, but maybe like a release event or a small fan club event or a dinner
like
show.
Those small performances.
Yeah.
Maybe it could work for new groups within Hello Project, like when Smilage were doing before their major debut. So if you got like a new group starting up, you could maybe do that because they're doing smaller events, and that could work and be a way to get interacting with brand new idols.
That's
as it were.
very possible. The interesting thing, though, is, at least for Hello Project, when you start new groups that, say, come from eggs, or at least partially come from eggs, their existing fan base already kind of makes them too big to do that. But I would like to see them do that just while they're in their indie stage. Maybe they can still get away with it somehow. I don't know.
They should do that with whatever Karen does next.
Karen running around by herself, giving handshakes to everyone.
Orab will be
Stand
there,
Yeah.
grabbing her by the wrist and run away.
Well, the problem with that is eventually you have to come up with some kind of ecosystem to make it fair, or else all you do is extend the kind of the nuisance of, oh, now there's going to be people lining up earlier because they want to get in the front so that, or get to this place where they know that she goes. And it would cause problems, I think, over time. Unless you had, like, rotating concert audience! Or event audience, or whatever.
Well, I mean, maybe if they do a ticketed system like Color Project, where supposedly it's random lottery, then might work.
Suppose.
But it would be weird to do a ticket system for a small concert in the first place. I don't know. So that's something to keep in mind. The next thing that is really interesting that Negiko does, but I'm pretty sure it will never happen, is they have handshake events after their concerts that have no time limit, which is amazing
Impossible.
for any Hello Project fan. If you've ever been to a handshake, you know that there are staff people constantly behind you pushing on your shoulder to move you down the line so you don't hog up the line or spend too much time with any one girl. But for Negiko, each fan can spend as long as they want with each girl, and usually it's not actually spent talking. They kind of have a customary, I don't know, routine or inside joke or something where they actually just play a game of Junken and then move on rather than any sort of handshake or talk or whatever. So I know you guys would all like a no time limit handshake, but is there any possibility this would work for...
It would take a week to finish.
I think to be honest, well, they could do as in no time limit or no obvious time limit, but with a maximum of up to a minute kind of thing, because that's a hell of a long time to spend. I mean, I spent the longest I've done is like 20 odd seconds with Smilage again, and
the dog agrees.
that's right.
Yes.
It wasn't me, and it was a very, that was a long time, especially for me because I couldn't speak language
Like,
properly, so I
just
kind of
stare
ran
at
out of
her,
things to
it's
say
like,
very quick.
Right.
You look pretty.
But I think that you could up the price of tickets by quite a lot, and I know what UFA are like for money.
Mhm.
I'm sure you
yeah,
could
they're like
still, they could make a fortune out of it.
For a specific handshake, or would it be like after an event, or?
Well, like the Sakachi one I did was just tickets just for a handshake.
Oh, okay, so an individual
That
handshake.
was it. No, it was at the Pony Canyon building,
Okay.
and it was literally just 2 queues, one for Sakachi, one for
Right.
Ukraine, I think it was.
So separate. The separate handshake events, they're not associated with any other event beforehand or after.
Yeah, it was just handshakes.
Right. Right.
Strangest thing I'd ever been to, actually.
Well, those. I mean, you have a lot more time allotted, so
yeah,
that's.
I had about 20 seconds on that one. But I mean, people would love to spend longer with their idols. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even if just to look at them,
In a creepy way.
Like,
Creepy.
yeah, obviously. But I mean, just as in with nobody else there, it's just you and her. You could basically give her a present or get her to sign something or whatever. It'd be.
The
We'll
dog
try to.
agrees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Approved. Okay, next.
Okay, well, I think the problem is with the smaller idol groups, they can afford to do long handshakes or unlimited timeline handshakes. Is because their fan base is so small and the fans and the idols know each other so well.
Right.
Like how these bigger groups,
Right.
it's more for like a stranger interaction, unless those it's like those fans that go to every single event and loops the the handshakes. So it's like our listeners has brought up, or even some of us has experienced. You just run out of things to say to the girls, to the Hello Project ones. But for these local idols, they know each other more, probably even on an I know your name basis. So they have
That
more
would be
things
so
to say.
Pick up longer conversations, you mean?
Meaningful conversation.
Yeah,
Not
meaningful.
like, oh my god, your hair's so pretty today.
Well, but the point is that if you do run out of something to say, you would leave.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just go, "Well, I'm going to stand here even though I've nothing to say," because you're going to feel awkward about it. So if you had more to say you could stay, but if you didn't, you would go. Like I did with Secretary. After 5 seconds of uncomfortable silence, I just walked away.
But I wonder if that's a difference between, say, the local idol fans, the small time fans, and then the big time idol fans. Like, so for the fans, for the big idol groups out there that are really hard to get a hold of. Like, I think the fans, the mindset is you want to spend as much time possible just to be near them, right? Whereas with the local ones, maybe there's so much exposure that if you run out of things to say, then you just leave because you'll probably see them again tomorrow or whenever. Do you think?
Yeah, where it'd be easy to come back to them later.
Right. Do you think the fans maybe have a more of like a better understanding among fans as to not like waste time or hog time?
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. The bigger groups though, they say, yeah, like you said, how people will have more understanding of what's going on and not hog up the line.
Right.
But it also goes with the fact that the local idols, they want exposure, so they will do this sort of thing. But I'm not saying their time's not important, but compared to the major idols, the more well-known A-list idol, they need to get going to do other things.
Right.
To do other,
they have
to
pretty
just go
packed
to other
schedules,
events,
right.
or yeah. So they have more things on their priority list than to stand around and let the fans,
Right, that's true.
maybe say, waste their time.
That's a harsh way of putting it, but
But
Nico,
it's
how
true.
about this for an interesting compromise? You have the handshake thing, you have a little bell there. When the uncomfortable silences start to happen, the idol goes, bing, next.
yeah, but like my mind would ring it
That's
before
that's
you
a little
finish
harsh,
talking.
Though. You give them control over it, and then you're gonna get weird things where, subconsciously, I think, like, oh, freaky person, ding! Like,
Samurai.
I
Yeah.
think you'd get that
Oh,
problem.
ding!
You see Kudu ringing it before the guy even gets up to there.
You're homeless.
Get out!
You
Go
just
away!
have a stopwatch. Be like,
Foreigner.
go. Okay, you're done. Oh, you're done.
No,
Yeah.
well, the
Oh,
thing is,
you're
it would
done.
be because I mean, the idol would be professional about it. They could see when the person's beginning to get awkward with nothing to say.
But then it gets into like, if it rubs someone the wrong way, it starts like a hate campaign. It's like, oh, she was so
Most people
mean to
find-
me.
Kind of
Or like,
humorous, to be
I
honest.
paused for a second and she ringed me
Yeah.
out. You know,
Yeah.
there's problems with that too.
Yeah, so that's not something that should be done.
Well, I think it'd be quite funny.
It'd be, I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It could work, but it puts a lot of pressure on the girls.
There's
Well,
a
yeah.
lot of things that you could do that would be problematic. The major thing about that no time limit thing is that when you have big groups like this, there's always going to be that one kind of not. I'm gonna say crazy, but I don't mean like insane. Just over enthusiastic person that's gonna try to like filibuster you, and especially with groups that are more than one person, you're gonna cause a really big clog in the line with that.
Right.
You know, it's that one person who's just like, I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm here. You know, isn't the
Yeah.
weather great? We're here, and then, you know, everybody who's like, I wanna shake too, and then, especially in big groups, if you're talking 9, 10 people, you know, even 7 people, then
Right.
it's like,
Yeah. So I
Big-
think to answer your initial question, wouldn't work that well for Hello Project
Yeah, probably
to
not.
have unlimited time handshakes.
although a really evil, devious system would be to give like rank tickets, where it's like, oh, here's a 30-second ticket, and then, like, they'd have
There are
to
too
get up-
many tier levels in Hello Project already. Let's not. Let's
No,
not.
yeah, but it was a lottery. You pull out of a box.
It would be really devious.
Right, but the executives always get like 1 in 3 chance of getting like a 1 minute one, and everyone else is like 1 in 100 chance.
Resellers would make crazy money on
Yeah, for sure.
those.
Like they already don't.
Right. The market's already pretty crazy. Let's move on because there's a lot of actually issues to cover.
Right.
So for Negiko though, their songwriter was actually a former fan that started to work with them after getting to know them very well. How would that work in Hello Project? Is that feasible? Or I mean, like, if okay, so assuming the fan obviously has talent, not like just some random guy who's like, oh yeah, I have a program on my computer, I can make music or something.
I have
They
full
did say
cried.
that-
Yeah.
They did say that the guy who did the PV direction for Kiss Me Aishiteru was a fan.
Well, I mean, like, if you look at the recent interviews for the people who've been working with Mono, like, everyone says they're a fan of Mono, but they're not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, but
reminds
this
me
didn't
of,
this come out before the PV came out? This rumor, so
I don't know.
there might be
Well,
some truth in it.
Yeah, I want to bring up that Kika's 4th and 5th single are by this Nico famous
Right.
songwriter,
Right.
vocal choir guide. But he's already well known to begin with, so it's on the same line, but different from being a nobody
Right.
just coming out. Oh, I have a song. You want to sing it?
But he's never heard of Kika before, so that's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's not quite the same, but
It's kinda
still-
close, yeah.
It's still somebody else outside of the company or
Right.
outside of the usual writers
Right.
doing it. So yeah, but I don't think for Hello Project they would go. They're so easy and ask people to write songs for them, especially they have so many people in house, and we have the awesome godly Sunku.
The godly Suku.
Yes,
Okay.
Sunku boy.
Suku boy. Right. The number one
Dude,
genius.
no,
Dance Man did a few songs. I don't know if that counts.
So yeah.
Ironically, I actually know the person who actually owns the Sunku
charged
Twitter
better.
name, which forced Sunku to use Sunku Boy
Wow.
because somebody else used it, and I know who it is.
Oh, that's sad.
That is kind of sad.
I'm not going to say who though.
Yeah, so I was gonna say how Hello Project they always put up a front that we're so classy, we're so up there, ignoring sales or actual popularity within the general public. We are so established that we don't need to do any of these fan service to make people happy.
Right.
Yeah, because you will come anyways.
Right, that's true. That fans actually will go regardless of what the song is like, or whatever the event is like.
Yeah, so they're not gonna give all these extra. I mean, they're giving a lot of incentives to fans these last 2 years, with how you get to take pictures with them if you buy a single. With how Berryz now you get a 10-second handshake instead of 2 second you get pushed away, and all these extra events in malls that you can attend for free. That's really upfront being nice to us now, or they're feeling the pressure that they have to sell. But I don't think they will go. It's harsh to say it like that, but scoop down to local idols levels and be actually practically give almost everything else for free. I don't think they'll do that.
I don't really see that happening either. It does seem like that they have too much of a company pride after they've been around for so long to go backwards like that. But I mean, maybe if they see it as like a tribute single or like a fan service single just once, I don't know, maybe, and like maybe not consider it an official single but release it as an offside, I don't know,
Special group.
yeah.
Special group. P-Berries.
Moving on. The next group that Moriti covered in the show was Linkyu from Fukuoka. So one of the interesting things about this that's actually not related to whether or not it applies to Hello Project, but the leader of the group is 26 years old, which is incredibly old for an idol, and she started at 24 years old. So she was already up there when she decided to become an idol. And what she was doing before was she was actually a professional cheerleader for one of the Japanese pro baseball teams. I don't know. I mean, with the audition process, it doesn't seem likely. But do you think maybe an established person could ever join Hello Project as an idol? Like even an older person?
Established in what sense?
Kind of like whatever the closest to the next Mikitiu we can get. Like somewhat out there in the whatever media entertainment industry, but
Well, compared to this Linkyu person, wouldn't Ikubo Haruna and Ishida Yumi be sort of like this already?
that's
Since one of them's a former
a very good point.
model, and one of them's a backup dancer for another idol group. So
Right.
Well, I know that one girl as well who went for the audition, she was a cheerleader, and they refused her because her dancing was too cheerleadery.
For which audition?
It was either Smilage or 10th Gen.
Huh.
I think it was Smilage.
I'll have to recheck. Was it the thing that was streamed on Nico?
Yes, it was Smilage.
We'll have to double check
Okay.
that.
Cool.
Moving on. So one of the other interesting things about Linkyu is, so again, they're a small local idol group, and because they're, well, not because they are so small, but partially because of that reason, the girls who are part of the idol group also work full-time in the office, the headquarters, doing office work. So, for example, some of the girls are in charge of actually managing the fan website or the official website of the group, whether that be publishing articles or managing the graphics. Some of the girls are actually in charge of the Photoshop that's involved in editing pictures for release for goods, which is really interesting. Some of the girls are involved in managing the online catalog where the fans can buy the goods. Like they type up descriptions and then they manage the catalog with the item number and quantity and all that stuff that they do behind the scenes. And lastly, some of the girls also design the goods themselves that are sold to the fans.
That's awesome.
That is pretty awesome. They interviewed the person who is doing the designing, or one of the girls that was doing the designing, and she was saying like it's one of those things where since you know the fans the best, you kind of know what they would want to buy it, so you can kind of, you know, I guess help the fans or connect with the fans the best that way.
Right. Hello Projects kind of does it like this, but they always say the girls have inputs in the ideas of this set product. Or this T-shirt was designed by the girls. They drew it on a piece of paper and they implemented that design onto the T-shirt.
Or like this really expensive jersey was designed by a certain girl.
Or this cell phone charm that cost way too much.
Yes.
Or this tie that.
Or this tie. Yeah.
This tie. Yeah.
This 2-set tie that cost 8,000 yen.
Was inspired by her idea.
Yes.
To be honest, the girls should never be allowed to design their own T-shirts. The ones they draw are just... I wouldn't want to wear them outside of a concert.
Some of them do have that problem. There are some ones that are pretty good. I think it depends on the circumstance. The BLT designs tend to vary in terms of quality. I think some of those are okay.
Yeah, those are all templated though, so...
I mean, I look at all of them. The templated bits are fine, but the drawings in the middle of them is like, no, sorry, I don't want to walk around with like a terrible picture by a non-artistic 14-year-old.
Oh, ouch!
There are so many people who wear stupid design things with their shirts anyway. Like I hate personally those like colored shirts that have weird like faux anime things drawn on the side of them. I don't understand those at all. But people wear those.
The Berryz ones from the latest Berryz tour, their t-shirts were awesome. With
remind us what those were.
The t-shirts with the it was all like stuff on them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Circular.
The stuffed ones, yeah, I got that.
They look like they were manga inspired logo on it.
I have no idea what that was.
Okay, well, I think for Hello Project...
You're not Berryz fans, obviously, then.
No, not.
Yeah, we're not. Okay. Yeah, for Hello Project, I think especially with the T-shirts and those concert goods, as long as it's the members' colors, it's fine for a lot of fans.
Right, that's true.
They don't care about what the design is, unless it's really bad. Then...
Well, because they'd only wear them at concert venues and things like that anyway.
Also true.
So
also true.
That's just has to be the right color.
I suppose
but then
out here, I'd quite happily walk down the street wearing my t-shirts if it was decent design.
True.
Well, I personally would too, but that's because people here won't point at you and go, "Oh, you're stupid," you know.
You're stupid, Ota.
Yeah, you get that more in Japan, I think, where people would whisper behind your back like,
"Oh my god,
bro,
he still likes Momusu?
What the hell?
Grow up.
It's still around?
Join AKB."
But there's a thing to that. I mean, the way that they do it now, where it's like, oh, just draw on this sheet of paper and we'll put it on a shirt, works in certain levels. It would be nice to see what would happen if, kind of like what happens with some of their blogs, where it's like, here, I want to do this, and then it kind of gets translated into something that looks more normal. I think that would work for certain things.
I'd love to see them give Mitsuki Photoshop.
That, I think, has potential to be really awesome stuff.
Yeah, then let her be the product designer.
Right. One thing I didn't mention about this was the reason why the girls are actually... Well, they're probably trying harder than the Hello Project girls who, like as you guys have said on the BLTs, or whether the personal designs are not always that good. But for LinkU, the sales for these goods, if they do well, obviously, the girls actually get 10% of the commission from the sales. Which is quite a bit of motivation to not make sucky designs.
Well, it's like they work at Best Buy or something.
It kind of is.
And that wouldn't work in an HP structure.
That's right. Well, it might actually, because there's another thing. To get the 10% commission, it only goes to the popular members. So again, you have to work to get popular to get the commission that you get for the popular selling goods.
Well, maybe if you did it by group, it would work, but I don't think you could do that in like all of HP, because then it would just cause awkward.
Right, that'd be kind of chaotic, but
yeah.
Right. Another thing that they do is actually very interesting. So for these goods that they're selling, they are actually sold after the concert that LinkU gives, and afterwards the girls come off stage and they actually line up, and you can buy goods directly from whichever girl you choose to support. So there's just single file lines of for all the different girls in the group, and you go up to each individual girl. You buy your goods. You actually get time to talk with them as well. And if you choose to, you can purchase these coins that they have, 500 yen per coin, and that gives you a 3-minute free talk time with the girls. What do you guys think about that?
Except for the coins, I think it could work pretty well.
So
I think it could work. There's a big caveat to that.
well, what do you mean by except for the coins? Which could have like an IC card system?
Well, no, but you know the 3-minute thing.
Just imagine
Especially
somebody
if you can
having
buy
15
several
coins
of them.
and-
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Because again, these are kind of smaller level idol groups. So they interviewed one of the fans, and it was actually a female fan. She's like, "Yeah, you know what? Actually, every concert I usually buy about 10 coins worth. So that's 30 minutes lost."
Spends half an hour chatting.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that in queue? That'd be awesome. It's like, I'll spend all my spending money.
Just gotta sit
I'm
there
with,
and
and I'm with Cheezer for the next week. Feeling hungry? Going out for a meal?
You could probably teach her English with that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
The problem with that is still the whole thing about with big groups. It creates a backup in one area. I mean, you imagine Momosu lineup, the Sayu line, and the Reina line is probably going to be way longer than a Zuki line or a Machan line.
Match
Oh,
online.
so sad. Well, Mata would have that one guy lining up.
Yeah, the one
Look
guy who'd be
himself.
like, "Here, I've
look
got
himself.
50 coins. What are you doing for the next couple hours?"
But that's one of the problems with having things where the popular members get more people talking to them and that kind of thing. I remember at a Momoro Clover event where the girl who left, Akarin, had nobody lining up to talk to her at all.
Awesome.
Oh, that's sad.
And it is. I mean, the fans didn't seem to give a monkeys, obviously, because they were interested in the girl they were interested in. But I felt so bad for her. And then eventually she left, and the whole dynamic of the groups changed, and not for the better, if you ask me. And
But aren't they
that
more
kind of
popular
thing
now?
could have adverse effects, especially since they're young girls you're talking about. They are going to feel, terrible if less people want to interact with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good system at all.
It's sounding like just the differences between the local idol group fans and the big time idol group fans. The dynamics between the fans and the idols themselves are completely different. Because from what I saw from the brief clip, there wasn't any girl that had no one in line for them. So
Yeah, well, this was when it was small.
Hmm.
This is when Momo Club were small. It was their first single, the first
And
major.
she
single.
still had no one lining up for her.
Yeah, still
Well, I
had.
think
I think one or two people
yeah.
at most.
Well, the
through the
difference here
interaction.
probably is how they're a Tokyo-based group, and all the all the fans would have carried the normal big city mindset of how our idol should be, and doesn't work. So it shows that it doesn't work with how the local idols methods. That,
Mm-hmm.
The
Right.
country idols.
Country idols.
Oh, sad. Country with stress.
Right.
Backwater idols.
One last note on that point, actually, Berryz is kind of doing something similar that you guys have mentioned already, though. For their upcoming Chacha Singh release event, they're actually doing, one of the options is a 10-second talk event rather than a handshake. So maybe they know what's up, as one of the local idol techniques, but who knows? Maybe that 10-second will grow into a
So-
money-based 3-minute things.
So I mean, the Berries are sliding into local idol territory.
I didn't want to say that, but
We're gonna have
Actually,
Well,
I
if
mean-
it works, there's no harm in trying it out, as long as it doesn't take over the Ota economy or whatever, I would think.
There's another one of our listeners has come up with an idea which would work better for HP, and that's that with these talk tokens, if you sold them by lottery, made them more expensive and only sell a small amount per person per event.
know,
That means all the executive people would get them,
yeah,
and
all the rich people buy like 10.
well, some of
to
our
be-
listeners might not understand this whole executive thing. Maybe you should explain it.
Oh, yeah. So, well, the executive thing, it's not like anyone can just sign up for it as long as you have money. You have to apply for it, and there's an application form where you pick the top 3 girls you want to apply for, and only a very small number of fans are actually selected, given this executive level status. So it's not like anyone can get it as long as you pay up for it.
And there is always unfairness in the lotteries.
That too.
Even if you're not an executive member, they do have a record of what concerts you've been to,
Very
what tickets you
detailed
bought.
record, yes.
Yeah, and according to that, they the lotteries are not random, but instead based on what you have bought from them or how timely you have paid for all your purchases.
Oh, yes, also.
So if you have made late payments or not made a payment for stuff you have ordered, that counts as a strike toward your account, and let's say goodbye to getting good concert seats.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's not very fair. So I don't think
rich people get those, and they're
rich people that goes a lot
And pay on
and
time.
pay on time always gets the benefit.
Preferably with a credit card, not by the money order.
With their credit card, yeah.
Right, their credit card, yeah.
The actual Hollow Project.
Yes.
Credit card,
Yes.
Yes.
But apparently it's £6 for the exec membership.
It is.
Right.
I didn't
then-
know it was that expensive.
You've got a while to
That's
go.
why it's the rich people, and that's why they get all those 2 shots.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so the stuff they get from it is totally worth
It's pretty awesome.
the cost,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
just makes everything unfair.
Just knowing you have to live there to get it as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's different because the Western fan base is not big enough for them to be of a concern, and that's
But I
a
guess
whole
the
different
point-
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the point that we're getting at is just that when you introduce something that has so much more value, like talking, direct interaction with them, the economy tilts way different than what it is with just, 2 shots and, small handshake events and seats for concerts. You start rolling high, then the difference between the executives and the regular people start to get more obvious, and it starts to get a little, more irritating, I think, for a lot of people.
Right. So on this topic, I just want to bring up one last idol group really quickly, and we'll cover that. That is the group Hime-kyun from Ehime. The characteristic trait about this group is that they mainly focus their resources on being kind of the local hero, and what they do is they do a lot of commercials, they do a lot of events, they do a lot of posters, billboards, and like advertising stuff for local shops, for local products, anything local really, nothing at the national level.
Yeah.
And their whole thing is they're idols, but at the same time they're like marketing girls for all these local businesses, and they're just trying to get the locals to buy whatever the item it is to sell the product. And the interesting thing about this group is that in the Ehime area, they are the only idol group. They are the only local idol group in that area, so they kind of have a monopoly on that area. Whereas the Link-Q and the other ones had to compete with like 10 or so other idol groups. But for Hime-kyun, according to the show, everyone in the Ehime area knows all the girls in the group. So they're kind of like the local celebrity. Everyone knows them. And so whenever they show up on a commercial or a poster or a flyer, they have a very positive image within the community, and that helps for sales. And that's the majority of their work, actually, rather than, say, traditional idol work, like just pure concerts and handshakes and whatnot. So this probably wouldn't work for Morning Musume, but like the smaller ones, say like Up Girls or Mono or Smilage, should they focus on maybe expanding their work to doing advertising for local products, small-time commercials, small-time flyers?
Don't Smalish already does this with Akihabara?
But that's only the once-a-year festival thing, right? The Denki thing?
It's not even really a festival. It's just
Or
let's
whatever.
promote the town.
Yeah, or that please don't download stuff illegally or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna say that's not really the same thing. Like for Ehime or for the Hime-kyun, these girls do like commercials for like local car dealerships or like grocery stores, even like bowling alleys. So that like mom and pop type shops, or even local products like, I don't know, hair products or something.
Well, again, it goes back to how Upfront thinks they're so big and awesome.
Right.
That,
I mean, like, assuming
yeah,
they can get
yeah.
by that, like, would it be a good move
Okay.
for the smaller groups to maybe expand out?
Well, being the fact that they're based in Tokyo, for a commercial like that they would have to take up or have a companies big enough interested in them, say like a Gurico would want them to promote Pocky
Well,
again.
I'm not thinking that high scale. Like, it's a good point that Tokyo, you have to be kind of up there
So
to do
what?
that.
Yeah. So
But I mean, like,
for it to matter.
well, no,
In
not
big city,
not
like
not just
Tokyo
not necessarily that it will matter in like a big time way, but just more of like taking down your ego and doing anything to get your name out. Like, for example, you know how Bono has their little booth inside Tokyo Tower? Like, that gets kind of exposure because they're constantly playing the PVs, but it's probably not anything significant, just to whoever happens to go there, which is most likely tourists anyways. But
Yes.
if you do a lot of those, maybe, like, say a certain district of Tokyo, everyone might know who Bono is. You know, kind of like a miniature Hime-kyun effect. If you advertise for everything in like
I guess that could
all the
work,
Yoshino
but
is in an
they
area or
have
something.
to have well, yeah, but it could work, but they will have to think of a reason to do it. Is with the human thing, because they're from that area and they represent the whole area, then that makes sense. But say if you're gonna do it with cute, then you can't just pick an area of Tokyo and just like, oh, we're taking this area over and everything's gonna be advertised by us.
They should take over Akiba.
But then what
Easter
about all
egg.
the donkeys?
Oh man, that's well. Okay, they can take over the donkeys in Saitama. That'd be cool. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know.
But the thing I like about that is that it gives them kind of like that hometown vibe for somewhere, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
like how sports teams work, where it's like, oh, we're from this country, state, city, whatever, Olympics.
What?
Sports.
Right.
I don't do sports,
Oh.
but you get what I mean, right? You get that hometown thing where you get a bunch of
Right.
people who just support you just because, like, I live there.
That's kind of the vibe I get from this group. Like, whether or not they actually like them, who knows? But it's because like that's the group that's in the area, so that's why you support them.
Yeah.
If you can, that's really hard to get in Tokyo because you know, there's so many groups in there, and also it's Tokyo. But if you can get maybe like outside, like Chiba or something, or maybe if you like go in Yokohama.
Maybe.
We don't have Gaki anymore, so
So that doesn't work out for.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can take over the Ibaraki farms then. With,
Okay.
Well, they
with
get
Bono
the
videos.
mini boosts for that whenever people do their hometown concerts and things like that, but that's really small. But I mean,
But I mean, those
Do you
kind of
think-
things,
yeah.
it's like once a year, so it's not really enough to have a lasting effect.
Well, you think they're trying to actually do it with Satoyama?
Take over farms.
I guess. It's the Satoyama movement,
You're right.
you know?
You think that's
Cabbage.
kind of like the same thing? They're gonna start slowly getting in on the healthy movement or whatever?
They're trying to start something up. That's for sure.
It would be interesting if all the like vegetarian places in Tokyo have like a Satoyama movement sign in the next coming year or something.
that'd be interesting.
I mean, they're setting up because the whole show is advertising for the entire like Ishii family.
Yeah.
And that whole farm community is just
Yeah.
getting lots of.
Yeah, they're getting their name out there now. But I mean, the thing about the Satayama movement is it's helping the farmers more than it's helping the girls.
But isn't that the same thing with how Hime-kyun does it?
I guess, but Hime-kyun is getting paid to do it, whereas Hello Project is paying to advertise another group.
Oh, upfront, you're doing it wrong.
You should hire me. I'll tell you it's backwards. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, any other thoughts about the Hime-kyun thing? The sales advertising more than, say, idol activities?
No, I just think that local idol methods are hard to implement for national
large-
idols.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah, on
true.
a larger scale.
Very true.
Really, on the whole, all of them would be very difficult and probably damaging to up front.
Very, very probably. So if you guys enjoyed our discussion and have more to input to it, please go to our forum where we have our recent episode discussion and chime in what you think. If there are any of these ideas that you might think would work or would not work, or if you have your own ideas that you've seen from other idols that we didn't mention on the show, head over to our forum. And with that, I'll throw it to Invis to close off the show.
Sure. Well, you've done a lot of advertising for today, so we're getting a lot of good things coming out for everybody. Of course, if you guys are listening to this on YouTube or iTunes and you haven't visited our site yet, that's takamario.net, where you can always come to see a lot of interesting information and some minor things here and there that you probably don't find everywhere. For example, we've got our Hello Project Tracker, if you guys haven't seen that, where we give you a countdown till the next event that you could most likely take part in the sense where you can at least watch it if nothing else. We've got our weekly Takamata pick. If you guys haven't seen that, this week's one was interesting. I think that's the only wording that I can give for that, so you guys can go and check that out. This week, in terms of what we've had our consistent Takamata Mondays, where we always talk about what went on the past week, so that you can catch up if you missed things. We've got Radio Fridays, where we summarize the good radio events, so that you don't have to wade through all of the different radio shows.
There's so many bad radio shows.
Yeah, so many bad radio shows. So everybody give S-Fair some props there for always going through the radio shows and finding all the good things for you. And then this week we had episode 5 of Takamata Hatana. If you guys haven't seen that, that's the other show that we do, where they take some of the interesting things that they found on forums that are unofficial, more rumor-based, more silly things, and they talk about that. So you guys can check that stuff out. It's always good things at takamario.net. For anything that you see that you want to leave comments on, you can go ahead and leave comments in the articles themselves, or check out the forum, which is forum.takamario.net. We've mentioned that many times today. As well as on our Twitter, which is at Konya TKMR. If you're watching this for the first time, we are on iTunes, which is user Konya TKMR, as well as on YouTube, and there's lots of ways to get a hold of us. So feel free to drop us a line, tell us what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right, and what you like. If there's no other things that you guys want to add for our special advertisements for this week? Nope.
I think we're good.
Okay. We're good? Okay, so that was episode 36 of Konya mo Takamaru. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Continue those discussions online. But for now, this has been S. Ferris, Turbos86, Firin, Ouroboros, and Invis saying bye, Pon.
See you. Thanks for listening.
Berryz Koubou.
Cha 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 cha.